Hello, Taos, New Mexico. This is Harrison Blackman, intern reporter with the Taos News, and this is your guide to what's coming up in this week's paper. In news, reporter Jesse Moya investigates the status of the troubled Stray Hearts animal shelter, whose new director abruptly resigned in early July. Moya's article examines the shelter's finances as well as the consequences of the shelter's no-kill policy. Also in news this week, Jesse Moya will take a look at the Guerrilla Photo Group, an Albuquerque-based photography workshop that found its way to Taos earlier this summer. In other news, Gregory Schloff, a local auto mechanic turned co-driver in the world-renowned Baja 1000 off-road race, recently sat down to speak about a safety campaign he launched after losing his friend, Mark Lutala, during last year's competition. Schloff takes you through sandy deserts and dry lake beds, along precipitous mountain cliffs and coastlines on a track that winds its way through 1,000 miles of the northwestern Mexican peninsula. Schloff's initiative blends military-grade medical kits and training to provide racers with the means to save lives at a race that has claimed many over the years. We also have a big story about efforts to end a little-known problem. In 2001, Taos resident and entrepreneur George Bash witnessed the problem of household cooking pollution in Nepal, a health hazard that affects 3 billion people worldwide and kills about 4 million people every year. That experience motivated him to start the Himalayan Stove Project, an NGO that distributes modern, efficient cook stoves to mountain villages in Nepal. Today, the Himalayan Stove Project has distributed about 4,100 cook stoves to communities in need, but you can learn more about this initiative, part of a global effort, in this week's paper. Meanwhile, reporter Cody Hooks takes a look at where things stand at the end of fire season and the start of monsoons. Several fires burned in Taos County throughout the month of July, but rain and resources kept them small. Northern New Mexico is now in the heart of monsoon season, and those fires are mostly out. In business, Sipapu Ski and Summer Resort was dealt a devastating hand in December when a fire ripped through a 9-unit rental complex along State Road 518. The resort is leaving that spot empty, but building even more lodging in the coming months. We have a sneak peek of those planned expansions on Thursday. In history, last week in the Taos News Archives, I took you through some fascinating stories of years past, including a lost hiker's rapid rescue, a deadly carnival ride, and a fleet of aerial visitors. And this week we've got a story about a chocolate-loving bear from 10 years ago, a polemic against SDI from 25 years ago, and a historic land dispute between Taos and Mora County from half a century ago. This week in sports, our local swim team was at the state meet in Farmington. Find out how our Tiger Sharks fared. Also, Taos County commissioners give our local athletes a well-deserved public acknowledgement during their regular meeting. Plus, don't forget to read the fishing report. We're also back in the kitchen in this week's lifestyles section with some delicious recipes for summer picnic fare and a story about a Red River barbecue joint that's worth the drive. Tempo's cover story this week shines light on the annual garden and home tour organized by Los Jardineros de Taos. The local garden club has put together a tour of some of the most inviting residences ever. Be sure and check out the photos of these gardens of earthly delights. In addition, we're covering the brief return of photographer Lenny Foster for an exhibit of his work at Magpie Gallery in El Prado. And we're taking a look at Plaza history through the eyes of anthropologist Sylvia Rodriguez. Plus, we have coverage of the Dam Band, who will be performing at this week's Taos Plaza Live Show, the new exhibit of innovative ceramic work by Deborah Rael Buckley and Charles Collins' 40-year anniversary celebration. It's all that and a lot more, including art and entertainment briefs, movie reviews, and the best calendar of events anywhere. And in the weather, the National Weather Service reports highs in the upper 70s for the next few days, with chances of afternoon thunderstorms on most of those coming days as well. That's just about it, Taos. As always, there's even more on Thursday's edition of your friendly community newspaper. Adios and goodbye.